So you guys remember this Orwellian doublespeak from yesterday?
Question, Mr. Vice President, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program.
They do not want to see a war. This is not a war.
So that was a fucking lie.
Yeah, because in continuing I'm tired of living through unprecedented times news, it turns out World War III is back on, as Iran has just fired 6 ballistic missiles on U.S. bases in Qatar's Al Udeid amid escalating tensions between the two nations. But if that wasn't concerning enough, the United States Supreme Leader, Donald Trump, is handling the situation with the deft and diplomatic delicacy you would expect. I'm fucking kidding. He's melting down on social media, begging, quote, everyone to keep oil prices down after Iran's other threat of shutting down the Hormuz Strait.
This is a stretch of water that's only a tad more than 30 miles wide. It's so small that you couldn't even fit Luxembourg inside of it, and yet these 30 miles make up the most important location to understand in the entire known universe. By controlling these 30 miles, you can effectively rule the entire world, and by closing them down, you can effectively destroy the world.
And after unpacking all the absolute breaking chaos in this video, I think you'll agree that this is the best representation of this current administration.
There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left.
So drop a like and subscribe if you think it's time for some American regime change. And let's take a look at some breaking video footage of reported Iranian missiles over Qatar and U.S. air defenses being activated. Right, so much for Trump's incredibly genius strategic diplomacy, not dragging us into a wider conflict, but more on that in a second. Currently, thankfully, Qatari authorities have confirmed that no injuries occurred during that missile strike on the Al Udeid air base, though it is a key strategic hub for U.S. military operations in the region, making it a critical target amid rising hostilities. In addition, there are unconfirmed reports of attacks occurring in Iraq, signaling a possible wider escalation in the conflict, and the situation remains fluid.
I'm looking now, major cases of GPS jamming in Qatar and other Gulf states. Iran is bombing Qatar.
Well, Harris, right now what we can tell from open source reporting on Twitter, you can see imagery of about what we're told from Israeli sources are 6 ballistic missiles that have been fired from Iran towards Qatar. As you know, as we discussed, the Al Udeid base, the largest U.S. Base in the Middle East, is about 40 miles from the capital of Qatar, from Doha. You can see the night skies over Doha right now, and there are explosions in the air. Some of those may be air defense missiles, Patriot missiles, trying to intercept those ballistic missiles. We have no indications of impact at this point. As you and I discussed before, there were satellite images from last week of Al Udeid, where the U.S. normally has a large number of transport planes, refueling planes, that those tarmacs had been emptied of those warplanes. But Al Udeid normally would have 10,000 U.S. troops based there. There had been warnings to U.S. embassy staff to shelter in place and at other embassies across Doha. We also now are learning that the airspace over UAE, the United Arab Emirates, where the United States military has another large military base, that airspace has been closed. And we also understand there could be an imminent threat to U.S. troops and personnel at bases in Iraq.
And what is the response of the president who dragged us all into this? Well, Donald Trump on Monday begged oil suppliers to keep prices down amid growing concern that Iran could shut down a major oil shipping channel in response to the U.S. strikes. And we know he knows what's going on because he appeared to be watching television at the White House when he made the urgent plea, as he had also written another post praising a Fox News interview just minutes before. But he said, quote, "Everyone keep oil prices down, all caps, I'm watching. You're playing right into the hands of the enemy, don't do it." Another post right after, the president also wrote to the Department of Energy, "Drill baby drill, and I mean now." And that is insane for multiple reasons, not only because the president has virtually no control over the global production or consumption of oil, also because Iran's parliament has already said they will be blocking the Strait of Hormuz, that major shipping lane that controls a huge portion of the world's oil.
At its slimmest, it's just 33 kilometers wide and only 3 kilometers is allocated for shipping in each direction. Despite that, nearly 20 million barrels of oil, which is about 1/5 of the world's daily oil supply, passes through it every single day.
It's the only possible way for ships to move back and forth between the Persian Gulf in the west and the Gulf of Oman in the east, which then leads out to the greater global ocean. The Persian Gulf is particularly important for this equation because 8 countries share some of its coastline: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman. And for 4 of those countries, the only maritime access they have is within the Persian Gulf, which means that the 30-mile-wide Strait of Hormuz is the only possible location they can pass through in order to access the world's oceans. And if you know anything at all about the Middle East and the Gulf countries, you know that they're pretty much all completely loaded in oil. But oil is only part of what makes the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz especially so critically important. Oil is still the lifeblood of the modern world's economy. Around 1/3 of our energy worldwide is produced by using it, and every single day, humanity consumes more than 9 million barrels of it. Oil is still by far the most common source of energy for human civilization in the 21st century. And as a non-renewable, it can't simply be produced. Oil is a resource that can only be extracted from where it already exists, and as it happens, it's not naturally found in too many parts of the world. Around the Persian Gulf Basin, across these dozens of oil fields marked in green, you can find roughly half of the entire planet's proven reserves of oil, including the single largest oil field in the world here in Saudi Arabia at Qatar, which all on its own produces nearly 6% of the entire world's oil supply. There are dozens of fabulously rich oil fields here that stretch across all 8 of the countries that border the Persian Gulf. But that's not the only valuable resource that can be found here. Marked in red, you can also find roughly 40% of the world's proven reserves of natural gas. Natural gas is the world's 3rd most common source of energy, behind oil and coal, and more than 1/5 of the world's energy is produced by using it. Qatar itself produces the highest amount of liquefied natural gas in the world. And according to British Petroleum, Iran possesses the world's largest reserves of natural gas. Between all of these combined reserves, there is more oil and natural gas in the seas of the Persian Gulf and the land immediately surrounding it than anywhere else on the planet Earth. Since 1/3 of all the world's oil production is currently taking place around the Gulf, and 1/3 of the world's energy is powered by oil, and since a further 1/5 of natural gas production takes place around the Gulf, and about 1/5 of the world's energy is powered by gas, it can therefore be said that about 15% of the entire planet's energy supply comes from around the Persian Gulf, and largely behind the Strait of Hormuz.
And you're not going to believe this, folks, because this just happened, but that whole situation with the Strait could be the real problem here. Because a shocking and breaking new claim is credibly accusing Trump of helping stage Iran's retaliation that we just talked about. And I don't have time to get into it in this video, but I am about to make another one right now covering this insane new development. So make sure you're subscribed, drop a like on this video, put on notifications so you get notified when it comes out. It should be within the next couple hours. And for God's sakes, join our resistance so we can continue to bring you the news you need to know in real time and hopefully stop our country from entering World War III. Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you guys hopefully in the next one.